I'm 74 years old, and I'm about to share something that might surprise you. 5 years ago, at 69, I left my husband after 42 years of marriage. It was both the hardest and the best decision I've ever made. I know what you're thinking, 69. Isn't that too late to start over? Why leave after 4 decades? She must be selfish, unstable, or going through a crisis. Maybe that's what it looked like from the outside. But from the inside, I was finally breathing. If you're sitting in an unhappy marriage right now, telling yourself it's too late, or that you've invested too much time to change, I need you to hear this. I wasted decades believing the same lies you might be telling yourself. Before I tell you why I left, I need to tell you why I stayed for so long. That's the part nobody talks about. Everyone wants to know what finally made me leave, but no one asks about the invisible chains that kept me there, year after year. I married at 27, in 1979, living just outside Cleveland, Ohio. I thought I was doing everything right. My husband, Thomas, was dependable. Steady job, good family, my parents approved. Friends said I was lucky. I wore a white dress and believed in forever. The problems didn't arrive loudly. They arrived quietly. There was no violence, no obvious betrayal, nothing you could point to and say, "This is wrong." He simply didn't see me, didn't hear me, didn't ask what I wanted. Every major decision was his: where we lived, how money was spent, even our weekends. Eventually, I stopped suggesting anything at all. I remember 6 years into the marriage, telling him I wanted to finish my degree in English literature. He smiled dismissively. "What would you even do with that?" he asked. "We can't afford it right now." And there was always something more important: his career, the house, the car payments, everything except me. I told myself this was marriage, compromise, sacrifice, being realistic. My mother had stayed in a quiet, unhappy marriage. So had my grandmother. This was just what women did. Then we had children, 2 daughters. Suddenly, staying felt noble. I was doing it for them, for their stability, for both parents. If I couldn't be seen as a woman, at least I could be needed as a mother. For a while, that was enough. The girls distracted me from the loneliness of lying next to someone who felt more like a roommate than a partner. We became polite strangers. Attending school events together, hosting dinners, going to church. We looked fine, respectable, stable. But inside, we barely spoke. Weekends passed like ghosts, sharing space, never connection. I remember our 25th anniversary. Friends and family celebrated our beautiful marriage, and I smiled, thanked everyone. That night, I went home and cried silently into my pillow. The years went on, the girls grew up, moved out, built lives of their own. My reason for staying disappeared. But by then, a new reason had emerged: fear of judgment, fear of change, fear of starting over at 66. I hadn't worked full-time in decades. I had no independent income, and so, I stayed. Year after year. Then came the call from my doctor. I was 68, routine mammogram, but this one wasn't routine. Cancer, he said. Breast cancer. Stage 2, caught early, surgery, possibly radiation. I sat there listening, and all I could think was, I am going to die having never really lived, not because the prognosis was bad, but because I realized something unbearable. I had been slowly disappearing for decades. The surgery was scheduled 3 weeks later. In those 3 weeks, something shifted inside me. Fear, clarity, awareness of time. All the reasons I'd stayed: reputation, comfort, fear felt meaningless. If I died tomorrow, the last 40 years would have been a performance. I survived. The cancer was gone. Recovery was quiet. I lay in that hospital bed, Thomas nearby, scrolling on his phone, not holding my hand, not speaking, just present. And I knew, at 69, I had to choose myself. I had maybe 10 or 15 years left. If I was lucky. I refused to spend them disappearing. 2 months later, I told Thomas I wanted a divorce. He was confused. "We've been married over 40 years, he said. "Exactly," I replied. "And I've been lonely for almost all of them." The divorce took nearly a year. Painful, expensive, uncomfortable. Friends disappeared. My sister called me selfish, but I wasn't throwing anything away. I was finally choosing myself. Telling my daughters was hardest. They were shocked. But you and Dad always seemed fine, one said. My heart broke. It meant I had hidden my unhappiness so well that even they thought it was normal. Eventually, they understood. One even thanked me. Watching me choose myself gave her permission to question her own life. At 70, I moved into my own apartment for the first time. Terrified, lonely, uncertain. But I did not fall apart. I learned. I adjusted. I remembered the woman I had been, the one who loved books, had opinions, had dreams. I even went on a date. It didn't last, but it reminded me it's never too late to feel seen. I'm 74 now. My life is not perfect. My apartment is small. My income modest. Sometimes I am lonely. But I am free. That freedom is worth more than anything I lost. Here's the truth. The regret isn't about leaving. The regret is not leaving sooner. If you're quietly unhappy at any age, hear this: you are not too old. It's not too late. And you have not invested too much time. The life you're waiting for is waiting for you to choose it. So I ask you, what is one fear that has kept you stuck longer than it should have? One word is enough. Writing it down might just be the first step to letting it go.